Welcome everybody back to Friar Talk. Today, we're going to be talking about the newly signed Gary Sanchez to the San Diego Padres. Going to be talking about what he brings to the table. Going to be going over the signing a little bit. We kind of previewed it on Sunday's episode with Big Baby David. So if you didn't see that, he's a Yankees fan. He's part of John Boy, Talking Yanks, all that. And so he's seen Gary Sanchez for a long time. So he gave his breakdown as well. So if you want to hear his point on it, you could go back there. That was our last video. But we're going to also talk about Austin Nola staying, Brett Sullivan being DFA'd, and kind of the whole position at catcher right now, just because this is definitely quite a mix-up. Gary Sanchez is in the starting lineup, first game here against the Marlins, against Sandy Alcantara tonight. So we'll see what he does tonight. We'll see kind of his debut in the Padres uniform, which is, I think it's exciting. But really, Gary Sanchez hasn't been very good the last couple years. He's not a very good defensive catcher. He has a decent arm. He's a very poor blocker. Decent pop time, decent stuff like that. He's an okay framer, but he has a lot of power. He doesn't swing for a high average, and yet he is still a much better player than Austin Nola and whoever's basically played catcher this year for the Padres. So overall, I like the move. I don't think it's a crazy needle mover, but I actually think this is a in-season pickup with a free agent that will help the San Diego Padres team. So I'm all for it. We kind of got sold on it last night or on a Sunday night. So we're in on it. Chase, we didn't really get to hear your thoughts on Gary Sanchez. So what do you think about him coming to the Padres, and do you think it's overall a win for this team?
I think it's better than what we have. I don't know if I'd consider it a win. I mean, wow, our two catchers had below a 500 OPS. At least Brett Sullivan was able to throw guys out on the base paths, and he was a better defensive catcher. And now you bring in Gary Sanchez, who's the opposite of Brett Sullivan, and he's not a defensive catcher at all. But hey, he can hit for some power. I mean, realistically, that's what the Padres need. They need any power anywhere they can get. I mean, having Sullivan or Nola and Grisham in the same lineup, it's just two guaranteed outs. And then occasionally Grish will go on like a weak tear and then disappear out the face of the earth for there might as well just be a ghost standing in the box and the pitcher throwing. And that's what it's like watching Grish swing sometimes. It's an upgrade, like I said. I mean, I'm not happy about it. I feel like I've made a ton of jokes on here that Gary Sanchez will be with the Padres off the podcast. Oh my God, Gary Sanchez is going to be the one solution to the Padres. I'd always give Isaac crap, talking how Gary Sanchez was the best catcher in the MLB and stuff like that. And here we are, and it's become a reality that I never thought I'd see. I'm not a Gary Sanchez truther. I will stick by that, but he's got to be better at this point, right? What, Nola had a 434 OPS, and then Sullivan had a 474. That's got it. Gary Sanchez has to be better than that. If he's not better than that, well, then we have some really, really, really bad problems if Gary Sanchez can't hit at least a 600 OPS. Because then what are we doing? Like, what are we going to do to fix the fact that we have two players that actually it would be three at that point, Sullivan, Nola, and Sanchez, that can't collectively hit over 600 OPS? And then if we want to throw Grisham in the loop somewhere down the line, yeah, we can throw that in the loop. But we have guys that just can't hit anything. So, upgrade, yes. Not happy about it. I've made a ton of jokes about him. Well, Gary Sanchez, you're now Padres. Please don't do bad in spite of me. Please be good.
Chase, I like your call to action there, man. I mean, looking at the deal though, it's interesting because I looked at their last 3 seasons. Gary Sanchez has put up better offensive numbers every single season. And Chase, you brought up that he's not a very good defensive catcher. His baseball savant numbers are significantly better than Austin Nola's. And the big thing with Austin Nola has always been like, well, he's a great game caller. And as we've learned this year, that doesn't really impact the game as much as it used to. So I feel like Gary Sanchez is better. His numbers say that he is better offensively and defensively. Do they say he's good? No. Do they say that he's better? Yes. And so I'm happy for that. And I feel like, Chase, you're feeling the same way on this. Another thing with this move, not Gary Sanchez related, though, is we were surprised that they DFA'd Brett Sullivan and kept Austin Nola. Not like super surprised. It does make sense, just because like they traded a bunch for Austin Nola, but they could have sent Austin Nola down. I believe he still has some options, and kind of let him rework himself, get some confidence in AAA, in AA, wherever it is. I would have rather seen that happen and had them rock with Brett Sullivan, who's a lefty, who is better defensively, making better plays, actually throwing guys out on the base pass. And I think it would have made the catcher room better. I think you have a better catcher room with the way Austin Nola has looked like this season. I thought he was worse than Brett Sullivan. Not by a lot, but I did think he was worse. And I was like, okay, at least you could have a lefty bat off the bench. But either way, I think Gary Sanchez is the starter. Like right away. Like I think he's going to be the starting catcher. The fact that he is playing in his first like in the first game he can play in, not having really any like work with the pitchers. He's gonna be catching Ryan Weathers tonight. That's kind of crazy. That shows that they are like, dude, we are so desperate. You need to step in and immediately like play for us. So I don't know what the splits are gonna look like from a game by game standpoint right now. And I also think that Sullivan would have been a better option. But Chase, what are you thinking on both of those in terms of in terms of them keeping Nola over Sullivan, and also like how much do you think Gary's going to play right off the bat?
Um, See, I don't think like tonight's a great indicator of how much he's going to play. I mean, it is Ryan Weathers. Eventually, I think he's going to get sent down once Seth Lugo or another pitcher gets healthy. I think he's going to be the first man down. So there is that. So I think it's a good kind of testing point to see how he can handle some of the pitchers. But I think, after today, he might play every couple days until, he gets to, catching bullpens with all of the pitchers, kind of just getting used to how their stuff breaks and everything. And then after that, I think he starts every day. I mean, unless, Darvish is like, hey, you know what? I want Austin Nola behind the plate. Or Musgrove's like, hey, I'd rather have Austin Nola catching me. I think that's the only time you'll see Gary Sanchez not in the lineup. But even then, if he's not catching, throw him in at DH. I mean, he's got to be a better option right now than Carpenter or Cruz. They've been struggling heavy. So just having fresh blood in the lineup, always a good thing. But as of right now, I think he starts today. He sits tomorrow. He starts maybe again on Thursday, maybe Friday. I just don't think he starts every single day yet until he catches some bullpens from some of the guys.
And especially with his blocking struggles a little bit, where it's like, all right, do you really want him catching Snell? Like, no, dude. Snell spikes so many pitches, so it's like you don't really like. There's so many pitches in the dirt with him. With Darvish, he's throwing so many different things that it usually takes a catcher like a while to kind of be able to even catch him and not have like I don't know, not like basically lose control of the ball. And especially if like with him blocking wise, it's like a little bit more sus than I feel like other players you would see. But Chase, you were also in favor of keeping Sullivan, correct?
All in favor of keeping Sullivan over Nola. I mean, I get it. I truly do. You wasted a ton of talent acquiring Austin Nola, and that talent has come to fruition in with the Mariners. However, at one point, you have to understand that take the L. Just take the L. Austin Nola will not be an MLB average hitter on the Padres. I get that he has the game calling, but so does Brett Sullivan. Brett Sullivan also was a little bit better defensively, and he was able to throw runners out. So, looking at the two, Austin Nola, good game caller, good defensively, cannot hit. Brett Sullivan, same thing, a little bit better of a hitter, and is a lefty. So, you get another lefty bat in the lineup. You get a guy that's just as good defensively and can throw guys out. You kind of have to rock with Brett Sullivan right now. I'm sorry, Austin Nola. You have not done anything for the Padres. So I think it's time for you to go down and kind of figure out where your bat is at, because it's not MLB caliber. And for the Padres, take the L. Just accept that you made a bad trade and don't try to die with Austin Nola on this sinking ship.
Dude, could not agree more. So it is a little bit questionable that they did keep Sullivan. I'm sure there's going to be some people that are really confused by that, and it makes sense. So, but I think that's probably going to do it for today's episode. Just wanted to get a quick thing out on Gary Sanchez being with this team. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Gary Sanchez is going to do in San Diego? Maybe his stat line that you think he's going to post here this year. Also, what do you think about keeping Sullivan over Nola? Let us know those as well. But with that said, we're gonna have an episode out tomorrow. Just want to get some quick out today, and then we will do a series recap on Thursday as well. So we'll see y'all then. But have a good one, and hopefully Gary Sanchez at least somewhat of the solution in San Diego, because need to get some wins, and it's been rough lately. But thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to y'all soon.